It's tea time on the Model Train Outsider Märklin Outsider channel. No, I'm not playing golf, and no, it's not that UK version of tea time. Find out what it is after the titles. Hey everybody, Anthony Dodge, Model Train Outsider, Märklin Outsider, Night of the Rhomboid Table, here with a very special first impressions video. There is such a story here, and I'll try to keep it short, but I'm very excited about this. As you may know through this channel, I recently acquired a big collection of trains from a friend. And there's one train he had a couple of different variations of that I've always wanted, but was unfortunately not part of what I got from him because he had already sold them before he contacted me. And that is the German Trans-Europe Express, the TEEE, or TEEE, or as we say in English, the T train. And my wife Joyce gave me a $100 gift certificate to eBay and said, get what you want to finish up Christmas. And I found some TEE cars, some old tin plates, and I really liked them, although based on the description they had some issues, and I'll talk all about that later in this video. But once I bought the cars, I joked with Joyce and I said, I've got these nice cars, and she just looked at me and said, let me guess, you need a loco. Didn't you get one from Herb? No. What I needed is a Class 103 in the TEE livery. And Pico had just released one that was still in stock at Lipa, and it would have been, with discounts, about $265, $270. I found some old tin plate ones. Since the cars were tin plates, I wanted maybe one of the old Märklin tin plates, and now that I know how easily I can convert those older ones to digital for my system, I wasn't worried about it. And I found a couple, but they were within a certain budget. They were all in rough shape. I mean, the paint was fading and all that. So while I was bouncing back and forth, I saw on eBay an ad, and the ad was for a 2003 model, digital. Okay, I won't have to buy a decoder and conversion kit, of a Märklin. But the gentleman wanted $250 for it, and I was thinking that's kind of steep to pay for a 20-year-old locomotive. And I was reading the description on the ad. This gentleman, I think it's Vintage Toys and Trains, Vintage Trains and Toys. I'll try to remember to look it up and put it here, but I might forget. Anyhow, he had listed that this was from a Märklin collection. A German gentleman who lived in his area, where Vintage Toys had a massive collection and had passed away. And I don't know the story behind how he got the collection. All the eBay seller said was that there were 2,000 pieces, locos, train sets, rolling stock. It was insane. And that apparently this gentleman spent 60 plus years traveling to Germany every year and coming home with locomotives. And the vast majority had never been run. The gentleman hadn't run a layout in 20 years or something like that, but he still bought trains and put them in his collection, either up on shelves. So, too late to make a long story short, but this Class 103 that they were advertising had never been out of the box. It was new old stock. Plus, it was a Märklin Club exclusive. In other words, they're not very common. So as I started looking up and what equivalent values for this were, the 250 was maybe a little underpriced. But I, just being me a bit, I lowballed. I was actually hoping he would reject it and I'd have to just wait till Märklin releases another one next year or buy the Pico one. And he accepted my offer, which meant they did not know what they really had. They just went digital locomotive, never used, $250 on it, and they accepted my offer of $195 plus shipping and handling. So I got it. It is model number 39579. I'll put that up there. And yes, I'm using the new camera that doesn't fade out and I have to try to re-edit it or put a picture up there. This is amazing. It is 20-year-old with the old Märklin symbol on the box here, meaning digital. When I had the little red chip on that, meant digital. It is a dip switch digital. Big deal. So I am so excited to have this. And it has not ever been out of the box. The most it had ever been out of the box was for the pictures in the video, or on eBay I should say. They had taken this part off and taken pictures of it in the bubble, but they never even took it out of the ice block, as people call it. So anyhow, without any further ado, let's get it on the track and let you look at it, and then some special stuff to go with it. So here it is out of the box. And the first thing I did was weigh it because it felt heavy, but I didn't expect it to come in at the weight it did. 629 grams. That is 1 pound, 6 ounces, and an eighth. 6 1/8 ounces. It is a heavy beast. It is nicely detailed for 20 years old. I'm very pleased with it. Obviously, newer models are doing more with replacing the formed grills with see-through ones and giving you sort of motor shots and so forth. But overall, let's just take a quick look at it, get close with the details. The pantographs do not operate, but certain versions of this particular model did have pantographs that raised and lowered digitally. To be honest, I haven't tested this one yet. I literally have it out of the box and loaded it into the Central Station 3 and run it. But I don't know why, I just like the little rooftop here with the glass looking in, especially for 20 some years ago. That's a little extra detail. The detail in the electrical and mechanical works up above and into the pantographs all the way around. And for 20 years ago, the digital printing, very nice, but just absolutely a stunning locomotive. Its decoder is an old dip switch type decoder from 2003 when this model was released. So it will not have a plethora of functions. But we do have lights, both directional lights, and we have sound. I don't know if you heard that. But it's the sound of the pantographs working. So as you can see, they do raise and lower. And operating sounds only come in when it's in motion. So it is very cool. And
I really, for this kind of locomotive, was not worried about how many functions the decoder had. Just having one already digital and in this good a shape. It is a 20-year-old model, but the motor in it is, I forget exactly the name of it. It's a CC motor. Really was, at the time, from what I've been told, is at the time it was considered the best motor out there, but it was so expensive to put in that prices went up and people complained. And so they went to other motors. Because one of my nerves buying this, of course, was it was from a time when Märklin was supposedly really starting to lose traction. It's right before Märklin was sold out again after it would go bankrupt in a couple of years and then be bought out by Simba Dickey. I think the family, this is 2003, the family finally gave up any ownership in 2006, 2007. So this was about the time that Märklin was really struggling and people were saying quality went down. But this is a beast, both in weight and reputation. Most people I've talked to about this since I bought it, I just got it today, but people are saying that this was a really good model. But again, with the lights on, the interior lighting here, very cool. Inside the glass windows as well. All right, so what I want to do is I want to definitely oil it up a bit, check it to see if it needs cleaning, and set the proper address to it. We're going to give it a new address. So be right back. Okay, I have run it in. And upon checks with the motor, you don't need to do too much with it. Everything was clean. There was no caked up old anything in the gears. I just oiled it as you should do. Oiled the axles and just a little bit on the cogs. And it ran in fairly smooth from the start, but definitely after a few minutes, it clearly was running smooth. The only negative I might say about running it in was that it did seem to struggle a little. And I mean minutely, it did not like going over some points where in Märklin C-Track points, the buffers from the C-Track get higher so it can clear the bars. And that could just be an adjustment needed on the pickup slider, shoe, or ski, as a lot of us call it in American English. So anyhow, let's go ahead and start it up and see how it handles the incline for the first time. It has been a while since I have gotten to run somebody up the incline in a first impressions video. So let's get it going. We're going to run it at about half normal speed. And over the less enjoyable part of my layout. But I like to see it. So this is its first time on an outer loop. I did put it on lane 2. And here we go. And right about here's the incline. And other than hearing it clank a bit over the points there, nothing. It goes into Delmenhorst Station. I'm going to try to increase the speed a bit. It does have a response time because you have to preset it on the, not even on the decoder, but inside. They have a couple of switches, P1 and P2, for setting acceleration time and slowdown time. So here we go. And remember, this has sat in a box for 20 years. never run, never test. Well, I can't say that it wasn't tested, but there was no signs that even a shopkeeper took it out. Up the incline again. And again, a little bit of noise over the points, but motoring on. All right, now normally I would go straight to review here, but I'm going to do something special here and change lanes with them. Okay, we are back. Normally I'd be doing a final review, but I told you there was something special to add, and here it is. A TEE train. The new locomotive, a 103 from Märklin, number 39579, 2003, Collectors Club only edition. And then these 5 cars, and there is a story with these 5 cars, which I'm going to share to you, and you can skip it if you want. These 5 cars were on another eBay site being sold by somebody else who was clearing out a relative's collection and just trying to get rid of it all. Looked at the car, saw that most of them have lights. 4 of these 5 do have lights, and put a price tag on them and was asking for roughly $30 a car. Actually, exactly $30 a car. Pointed out that there seemed to be flaws, that the roofs were not sitting on properly. And you can see there's this one. As I mess with it, you can see it's not on there. Okay, but they felt they had problems with multiple roofs and was because wanted to ask $50 each for them since they had lights. I offered 100, saying, well, based on how you're describing it, there might be more problems with it. Although they said they put them on their track, and yes, it does work. The lights do light up. Okay, so I offered them 100. They took it and sold it to me. This 5-car set, and I use the word set loosely because these were never sold as a 5-car set. These cars were sold individually, and you built whatever consist you wanted to build with them. And what I have learned in the week since I first ordered these off of eBay, this was the $100 gift certificate from Joyce that I used on eBay. What I've learned is these coaches, there were 4 or 5 coaches. There were 5 different types of coaches that were made, and there were 2 runs in this series. The first run was 66 to 68, and the second run was 69 to 71. There were other runs afterwards. And the difference is the run from 66 to 68 did not have interiors added. You had to buy the interiors extra. That was for pricing and everything. So if you wanted them to have interiors, for example, this car right here, this one, the bar car, does not have an interior. Okay, the others do, which suggests either the owner bought them between 66 and 68 and added the interiors, or he bought them between 69 and 71 when they already came with interiors. The lighting in them, and they do light up, I'll show you in a minute, was always secondary. It was never factory installed. Owners had to install them. There's a special, you take the ski, they give you a ski, it attaches to the bogie, you run it up through the pre-drilled holes, and then there's a light bar across. I will, since this, well, actually that lid's on decently, but there's your light bar. There's a light bulb at each end, and then it just wires up from the bogie there. So let me put that back on. But anyhow, once I got them and started looking at them, the damage the person was describing, other than use, the paint's a little faded or there are scratches and discolorations on the roof, was that the person who either got them and messed with the lighting, they had put the electrical wiring on top of the light bar. And so it was forcing these roofs to stick up. If you move the wire to the side, the roofs sit flush and snap into place. So that was the only issue with it. But I figured $20 per car, and they all light up. And then for an additional $14, I bought the lighting set. But the 5 cars I mentioned, there was a open seating car, or Großraum in German. There's the compartment car, or Abteilungswagen. And then you have the Barwagen, the bar car, the Panoramawagen, and the Speisewagen, the meal wagon. And these have been seen in many different consists, even before I bought one. In fact, just yesterday, a friend on Facebook shared a picture of, because I had mentioned I was buying a TEE. It was an 8-car consist that had 2 panorama cars at the end. I've had people say the panorama car should be in the middle and put the bar on one side and the Speisewagen on the other. Apparently they ran in all kinds of consists. This one has a 2 compartment cars. I do not have the great room cars, and my goal now is to make a 7-car consist and get 2 great rooms and have the 2 great rooms on the front and the 2 compartments in the back, and maybe work with arrangement as I learn. But this is a first. This is my first time seeing this all in a row together, just as you're seeing it right now. This is epic, and just for the heck of it, I'm gonna start it up, let you see the lights come on. Again, this was not the greatest lighting system in the world at the time, but it works. It's cool. They do have interiors. Now, the one that doesn't have lighting or interior, I've ordered the lighting, but they never made an interior for this car. Even in the 69 to 71 run, these, from what I understand, well, no, let me correct that. 69 to 71 runs did have interiors, but where these from the 66 to 68 runs didn't have interiors, they did make interiors and sell them, and you could install them yourself. Märklin made interiors that you could put in. They just didn't put them in automatically for people who wanted to save a couple of bucks. This one, I'm sorry, I keep pointing to the wrong one. This one, the one that says Trans-Europe Express, they never made secondary market exteriors. You either got one with the exterior in the 69 to 71 run or the later runs, or you just didn't have interior for it. So it's hard to say whether these were all from 66 to 68 and then they bought the interiors for these cars that have them. But what I did is I bought the light set off of eBay for this one, so this will have lights by next week. And then I bought the Speisewagen interior because it will fit in here, because these cars are all 24 inches or 24 centimeters. They're 10 inches. It's a standard. It was a standard. So regardless of their comparative lengths in real life, Märklin made everything 24 centimeters. And it was all one chassis, and then they just formed whatever on top of it. So even these roofs could be technically somewhat interchanged with other train sets that I have, the old tin plates. But anyhow, I've got some old tabletops and everything else, some circle tables and that came with restaurant sets and patio sets. And I'm just going to take the Speisewagen interior, which I've ordered, and I'm just going to chop it up a bit and replace some of the seating with what look like bar tables. And, you know, so it'll be a jury-rigged one, but when it's going around, you aren't going to notice. So now, for the first time ever, you are seeing it with me. You are actually seeing this with me. First time ever, we are going to put this in action. Whoops, I've got it set the wrong direction. I should have looked at the headlights, huh? So that's the way to start it off. But we are going to put this guy in motion and see how it goes. So taking them up the incline. Sorry, behind the computer. come down to ground level and watch it go around the corner. And let's do it again here. "21-year-old, almost 22-year-old locomotive and almost 60-year-old cars running nicely." And we'll get one last shot, passing shot as it comes by here.
Alright, so what's a much longer video than normal for the first impressions videos? Let's talk about it. First impressions. I'm too biased. I'm ecstatic with this. I got both at a good deal. I actually, in my opinion, did kind of lowball offers, but with the tin plate cars, I had no idea. I'm going by what they're saying and what I think old tin plates go for. And I thought I gave a fair offer. If they had done their homework better, then maybe they're worth a bit more money. But I think $20 per car in the condition they're in was a good bargain for me. They didn't have to accept my bid. Let's talk about that locomotive because that's a newer. But again, it's 20 years old. It has sat in a box for 21 years. This thing was meant to be driven. It was meant to be played with. And it's only now getting its chance. And you always worry. And I have been told by Märklin friends, if it's Märklin, old Märklin, don't worry. But where does old begin? I'm very happy with this 103. I guess if you're a German model train person, you're supposed to have a V200, which I now got, thanks Herb, and now a 103, thanks Vintage Trains. It's very nice, and I don't know if I'll run it in this Friday's live stream and let it really air out, or if I'm going to save it for the 250 special, because I'm trying to decide what I want to do for the Insider-Outsider 250th episode. Anyhow, it's a very cool set. I'm very happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed a look at a not so old timer and some old timer coaches to go with it, and there's more to come. Like I said, I'm gonna get the I've already ordered the interior, and I'll jury rig the interior and the light set, the proper light set for the one car that doesn't have it. And in the long run, I'm gonna look at getting 2 more cars, maybe a second panorama car. I'll think about it. So on that note, I want to thank you that watched this long for watching this long, and all of you, thanks always for those of you who watch and comment on these videos. And I just want to say, you already know, Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains. Take care, everybody.